the answers, no answers. I could find you, I could find
From the Sporting News Studios, this is the Fantasy Football Show with your host, Matt Litevsky.
I got all the answers, all the answers. I could find you, I could find all the answers. If you let me get it close and study you.
Big week, guys. Big week 5.
The biggest.
It's going to be a big one. I think maybe the biggest this year.
Probably
so
till
far.
week 6.
Week 6 is going to be big. I've already actually looked ahead a little bit.
Yeah.
Week 6 is going to be big.
Yeah.
Week 2.
When do they get huge?
Well, they become must-win.
By the double
pretty
digits,
soon.
right?
Yeah, it's what it's going to be. Fantasy football commissioner and participant Eric Ferreira, Sporting News fantasy intern Billy Hayen, along with me, Matt Litevsky, and we are talking about week 5 in the fantasy world. As always, we're going to run down the highest trending players of the week. Not a ton of big injuries, although we've had some info rolling in here.
Yeah, the wire is
up to the minute.
The wire is just faxes are feeding
They
in.
are
with the
just
news.
flying all over the newswire.
AP, Reuters stuff coming in.
Yeah, so we'll get to some of those guys.
We got to get Billy on that. He's got to comb through that.
He's got to be wearing that little hat that says "Scoop" in it. And then we'll get into our good matchups, bad matchups of the week at every position. We don't spend a lot of time on tight end and defense.
For everyone,
But we're going to talk about
for
it.
everyone at home that wants a little look behind the curtain. Me and Billy got a little talking to today because we seem to not spend enough time on the tight ends.
No.
We spend too much time on everything else, and
on the fun stuff.
we had a slap
like right
on the
now.
wrist.
Yeah.
This whole explanation.
Senior fantasy football writer Matt Litevsky gave us a little slap
This
on the
is
wrist.
why we breeze through tight ends and defenses because of that explanation, but that's fine.
So this week we're going to start with defenses. Who do we like?
Here's the thing. I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. Listen to this at 1.5 times speed at least, which you should do with almost every podcast because we sound smarter and it just goes quicker. And that way we can take a little extra
And
time.
don't listen to it at half speed because then we sound drunk.
I can't imagine what kind of asshole listens to podcasts at half speed.
You gotta have a lot of time on your hands.
A lot of time. I'll say this much though. Now we're really getting off topic, but it is true. Once you start listening to podcasts at 1.5 times speed, you can't go back, and you start wishing your life was at that speed. You'll be having a conversation with someone. You'll be like, "Come on, speed it up. Let's go." You get so used to that pace.
I feel like there's a no fear slogan in there or something about living life at 1.5 times
That
speed
is-
or something.
let's bring
There's
that
got to be
back.
something.
We'll work on that afterwards.
I know you like to live life pretty close to the edge because if you're not,
You're taking up too much space. I've said it once. I'll say it again. That's just a fact. All right.
And thankfully, you're listening at 1.5 speed, so that went by quicker.
That goes quick. All right, let's get into it. First thing we do every week, we look back at last week, things we got wrong. We look back to look forward. It's not just
speaking of half speed,
looking in the past. Speaking of half speed, good one. Adrian Peterson, big dust up, a little Donnybrook last week.
it made it upstairs. It made it out of the studio.
Yeah.
Carried
It really
over
did.
to the floor.
It really did. To Sporting News NFL writer,
And
Vinny
I got to
Iyer.
say, you didn't have many people on your side with it.
Vinny was.
Yeah, wow.
And he was wrong, too. The argument was Adrian Peterson or Frank Gore. I liked Adrian Peterson last week because of the matchup, and then it became like a real-life argument, who's better.
And Frank Gore won all of it.
Frank Gore.
The only thing, I'll take AP in a straight line race.
I'm still kind of holding
but
out
I'll take Gore's feet
that
any day.
in good matchups, Adrian Peterson can have some fantasy value.
Hasn't proven that.
No, he hasn't this year. I mean, he scored a couple weeks ago, had a cheap touchdown, but Frank Gore, 100-yard day against the vaunted Patriots defense, the top
It's all feet.
scoring
It's all
non-quarterback
feet. Guys
in
got
fantasy.
lateral movement for days.
I mean, it's
I've never
helped by
seen
the
someone-
Singletary injury, of course.
I've
Maybe
never-
he comes back this week. We'll find out.
I've never seen someone pick their feet up and put them down. It's quick.
He's got good
through
feet.
the hole.
He's got great
It's Frank
feet.
Gore.
But
Dancing
Frank
with the
Gore,
Stars post-retirement.
He'd be a favorite in Dance with the
100%
Stars.
if people knew who he was. The 4th all-time leading
leading
rusher.
rusher,
No
right.
one knows who he is, but to pass Barry Sanders. But going forward, Frank Gore, season outlook. Again, I mentioned Devin Singletary coming back. If not this week, it'll be after their week 5 bye or week 6 bye. Like, what is this guy going forward?
It's matchups. It's Singletary.
Total matchup?
It's like 58 yards a game. I don't know.
Maybe a touchdown and maybe a touchdown. PPR
Yeah.
value crap.
Touchdown's probably not looking good.
Why?
I don't know. I feel like Allen's going to get rushing TDs. Like
Allen's
he
out.
looked slow when he got down to like his goal line carries. It
Oh,
looked
now
like-
we're talking about how slow he is.
Well, no, it looked like he had no chance.
But the opposite of that, when Peterson gets a handoff, it looks like he's going to hit
Yeah.
it hard.
He
And it
hits
just
that first
doesn't.
or something
defender.
hits him. Yeah.
Yeah. So Peterson going forward, obviously, you guys don't think much of him. I still think in the right matchup, he can have some value, especially as we get into the bigger buys. Like, you wouldn't he should be on a team, right?
I guess.
But you don't feel like it's a waste of a roster
in a 10-team
spot.
league. I'm not in a 10-team
10-team, that's
PPR.
fair.
I'm not sure he needs to be on a team.
I mean,
that's
they play
fair.
the Dolphins in Week 6, and I'm not sure I would even want to play him against the Dolphins.
Yeah, I would. I'd for sure play him
Give him a
against the
shot,
Dolphins.
but
I mean, like, if you need to, but like, if that doesn't get you excited,
But at
nothing's
least
going
as
to get
a
you
flex,
excited.
like you got guys better than him for a flex when he's playing the Dolphins.
I'm not saying you do. I'm just saying that if that's not going to get you excited about AP, nothing
Right.
is.
I'll tell you what, and Kalen Balazs plays the Redskins.
You mean Mark
firing
Walton,
him up.
right?
Yeah, Mark
We're
Walton.
on the Mark Walton train.
Yeah,
now.
all right, let's go to another one. This is another one I was wrong on. Jameis Winston, I kind of went off on that he sucked. I think I
does.
actually said those words. I still don't disagree with myself, but 2 straight weeks, huge numbers this week on the road, or I should say last week on the road against the vaunted Rams defense and pass rush. Lit them up.
I don't really know how that
So I
happens.
guess the question almost
he's got good receivers.
He does.
He's willing to throw the ball down the field. He's nowhere near a dink and dunker.
that's
Right.
for
And
sure
he said
his own
He's the
detriment.
opposite.
and he said this is like the happiest he's ever been in life.
Yeah.
And
Even you
it's
think he
translating to
even when he
football field.
won all those games at Florida State.
Even when he was eating all those lobsters or
That's
shrimps
right.
or whatever,
I don't know
crab
if this
legs,
is the
whatever.
Playing
happiest
two
he's ever
sports,
been.
yeah.
But
He
Jameis
said his life is in a great spot right now, and it's
I
carrying
believe
over to
that.
football field.
But here's the thing. So now he's playing a second straight road game. Noisy dome. We just saw
They're not at home until like mid-November.
No, in November, yeah, because they got a London game not next week, but coming up later. The question is this a guy you can count on? I still think no. I still think he's gonna. I actually think this week he's gonna crab the bed, even though statistically it's a good matchup. I just feel like this is a sack-filled, turnover-filled week, but
I think you can kind of count on him.
I think so.
I
too.
think he's going to have some clunkers, but I think
he's got the receivers, and that helps the cause. a lot.
But it's all again. It's like it's the willingness too to like chuck it. Where some of these
Right.
teams and quarterbacks like
Well, Mason Rudolph sure doesn't.
no, and then he doesn't even have the coaching staff wanting him to do it. Right? You got even like in Minnesota with Cousins, like they want to run the ball every down. You've got a team that wants to throw the ball downfield and a guy who can do it and 2 good receivers.
Yeah, and that London game is next week against
So he
the
throws a pick or
Panthers.
two.
Yeah.
I survived 4
So 2 straight
4
road
turnovers
games,
from golf last
and then a
week.
trip across the pond to London. That can't end well for Jameis Winston.
It's just like the Buccaneers could lose a couple games, but like Winston's got a good
you
chance
just
at
think the
300
numbers
yards
will
and
always be there.
touchdowns. Yeah.
I mean, he's
They
going to
could
turn
be-
the ball over. He's going
Yeah,
to, but I think
right.
he's going to
But he
throw
can offset
for
it.
over 300 and 2 TDs a
Yeah,
lot of
like
weeks.
every game,
Pretty
Most
much.
games?
Like if
Most
he's in your
games,
fantasy
we'll see.
starting lineup, I wouldn't watch the Bucs games because they'll be frustrating.
Oh, this
but
is our eyes
you
wide
might get
shut.
some points.
Yeah, it's an eyes wide shut game.
That was something we coined during baseball
Yeah,
for
we need
those
to bring that
pitchers.
back.
Who was our with James Paxton? Was he an eyes wide shut starter?
For a while there, but
We had some others.
lot
We
of
don't want to
guys.
get too into it.
Yeah.
All right.
we could bring that back for football though.
We'll see. We'll see on Winston. Jury's still out, but
Well, maybe
trending in the
forget.
right direction. Another one.
Your
This
name is all over the last couple of
Those
weeks.
two. You know what? Look, you don't bat. Who bats 1,000? No one. Billy though got this one. He was all over Devin Smith. He loved the snaps he was playing, but not even a target, right?
Yeah, no targets. The Cowboys, they throw to Smith, they throw to him deep. And they went into that game and they played this like weird style of like, we're playing Teddy Bridgewater, so let's just pound Zeke into the line and throw 4-yard passes. And
Even
like,
after they couldn't run, they still kept doing
right.
it.
And like, I still feel decent about Smith if Gallup's out another week or two to be sort of like a boomer bust flex guy. But I definitely, I mean, I picked him up and played him on one of my teams last week and it didn't work.
His money where his mouth was.
I feel like they gotta get Zeke
So
going.
the question is not even so much for Smith, it's Gallup when he comes back.
Right.
And because I still think there's upside, but I think he'll be boomer bust too. I just think that's the nature of their offense.
I think that's true. I do think Gallup's probably a little more well-rounded of a receiver
Yeah, I agree.
where those games where they're sort of taking it easy or playing more conservatively, he'll be more involved than Smith was. But
Right. Yeah.
I think the Cowboys tried to be like this high-flying team the first couple of weeks when they weren't really.
Well, when
They weren't playing
bad
anybody, right?
defenses,
Yeah, when they weren't playing,
that
and
helps.
then like who they should be is pounding Zeke,
Right.
and maybe even some Pollard, right, and
be.
supporting Cooper, but not this high-flying 3-wide
Dak's
supporting
trying to
3-wide
get that
receiver.
money, man.
I know.
Dak's,
Well,
this'll
now
be
he's
a
playing good defenses,
that'll
and it's
be a
not
good test.
coming so easy.
And we'll talk about that in a second. All right, let's get to our top trending players of the week. We're going to top search engine from 1995. Look Smart. I like that name. It's like look smart. Use look smart.
Yeah,
It
listen
lends
to our
itself
podcast.
to
Look
Use
smart.
us, you'll look smart.
right.
Right.
It lends itself to an obviously tagline. So we're gonna look smart these
Great
guys.
year. I like that you listed the year that it was number one.
I don't. Well, it wasn't number one, but it was.
it was a
That's when
top.
it came into
was a big year for me.
existence. Yeah, 95.
I
was
thought it was a big year for me.
It was a big year.
It was not a big year for me.
Is Billy alive? In
Nope.
95?
No, he wasn't
Big
alive.
96, baby.
Yeah, so he doesn't know about look smart, but everyone else does.
Everyone.
So we'll start with the Steelers backfield. James Conner's nursing a little ankle injury. Jalen Samuels had the breakout Monday. I mean, James Conner had, for this season, a breakout game,
Yeah.
too. He had a good game. Although the rushing numbers weren't all that impressive.
No, it was all through the air.
But it was all this stupid wildcat, fly sweep. They each got in the end zone. Samuels had, 31 passing yards. So I'm of the opinion that that was a total gimmick thing. It works one game. It's on tape now. It won't work again.
They burned it against the Bengals.
That's what I say. We'll get into that in a bit. And I just don't think it works again. I think because Mason Rudolph is allergic to throwing downfield, maybe Samuel still has PPR value on checkdowns because they're going to do it a lot. But that's it. Now, the Connor potential injury, could sort of throw
it's
this out of
interesting.
whack.
Even around that injury, I know it happened obviously during the game. They each had 10 carries. They each had 8 catches. They had the same amount.
But part of the reason Samuels had more carries is because he was doing the wildcat,
Right.
Which I don't think they'll do as much.
I do think that game probably proved to them that they can have some success just sort of using Samuels in different ways. We've seen it very sparingly since he's been in the league. Maybe with Rudolph, they'll do it a little more. It might not look like that. It might be screen passes or whatever they are. But I think he'll keep playing. But I do agree with you that it's more of a 1 week thing unless Connor's out.
Well, they're obviously looking for guys to make plays or playmakers,
Right.
With Roethlisberger out, right? So you got a backup quarterback. So
Right.
this Samuel's guy's a pretty good athlete. Let's do some things with
And
him.
it's let's get this on tape
Right.
so the Ravens have to prepare for it. Now we'll run a normal offense.
right.
Or something else gimmicky that doesn't have anything to do with Jalen Samuels.
Yeah, it'll probably involve JuJu this
You
week.
hope so.
When I needed points last week. All right, so that's sort of a weird situation. By the way, Saquon's going to be trending a ton going forward. We're going to talk about him in the good matchup, bad matchup. Another guy, injury. It doesn't look like he's going to play. I don't know if he'll even be listed as questionable. He might be the doubtful or out. But Davante Adams having a career game last Thursday, gets the turf toe. That tends to be an injury that lingers. And, never a good thing. So now I guess the question is who steps up in his absence. Allison had the touchdown last week. I think Valdez-Scantling, he had the 10 targets the week before. Jimmy Graham had the touchdown last week. I know you wanted him on waivers this week, Eric.
Well, I think if anyone, besides Allison and Valdez-Scantling, I look at their wide receivers. I don't even know who these guys are.
Right.
And then I look a little deeper. I look at the stats. Not a wide receiver other than Adams, Valdez-Scantling, and Allison's had more than 1 target this season.
Right.
So they're not even throwing to a 4th guy. So
And Jamal Williams, who is, I think it's safe to say, the top receiving back, is probably out too.
So I feel like it's potentially Graham. He had 9 targets last week. Maybe Mercedes Lewis, 2nd tight end.
That guy's still in the league.
He's played a lot of snaps this year.
Hey, what do I know about
Nothing.
Green Bay's 4th, 5th, and 6th receivers?
I know something
is
about one of them.
I've basically never heard of them. So
I can't
I'm looking
believe
at
you
guys.
haven't heard of
Go ahead, give it to
2018
me.
FCS title game MVP Darius
And
Shepard.
4-time
Yeah,
national
we got to keep
champion.
moving this along though, because we got to get to those
Good
tight
point.
ends.
Yeah,
Good
you're right,
defenses.
we gotta get to that.
One thing on the Packers, I would be worried about their offense for as long as Adams is out in general,
Yeah.
especially with Williams out. They're going to be running 1 or 2 sort of personnel groupings with not a lot of inspirational players.
I think a lot of Aaron Jones.
I think we got to downgrade Rodgers from 250 and 2 to
225 and
look,
1
I was going to say 213.
We're going to talk about him in the bad matchup. So yeah,
But I do. MVS, I think, is a good play. As long as Adams is out, you pretty much got to start.
I think him and Allison are both in play. But they'll
Ellison's
feel
even
great
risky
about
though.
him.
I would feel
Yeah.
good about MVS. He'll get the targets and he's explosive.
I mean, if he's the
Allison
number
hasn't
one
looked that good
receiver
this year.
now,
I also read something where it was
he's miscast as
there was
number one.
Rodgers was doing everything he could to just throw out the playbook and
sure he
chuck
was.
it downfield. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, well, they lost for the first time. So well
He threw
done.
for a lot of yards though.
Yeah, that's true. All right, Marlon
Made
Mack.
us look stupid.
Yeah,
stupid.
he did. Marlon Mack. Well, we liked him last week. We said last week.
yeah, true.
Yeah, we liked him more than Keenum.
Right. So yeah, that's true. Nailed it. All right, Mack is a guy. So he doesn't play much in the second half. Then there's, as we were watching the game, Billy, you can attest. I'm like, yeah, this is a game flow thing because they're
Right.
losing by 2 scores. And then it comes out later, oh, he had an ankle injury. Then it comes out the next day, Frank Reich's like, no, he could have played.
Yeah, that
It
was
just-
weird. I don't know why they.
It was a game flow. I don't know if he's hurt. I mean, I feel he's he's always hurt.
Right.
He's a little Matt Breida.
Default setting.
He's always hurt.
Yeah.
So Marlon Mack, they have a Sunday night game this week. That complicates things, but it's a great matchup. I think the Chiefs are giving up the most yards per carry, like 5.6.
It's a great matchup if they can stay in the game, because if the game script thing happens again in KC, that's the weird thing about KC,
right?
Is you can totally run on them, but if you fall behind, you probably ditch the run game,
Right.
And we saw last week he's not going to play much if they're in that mode. Now, to be fair, we thought, hey, Detroit's probably going to get blown out. So
and they didn't. That's what I'm saying. If you can stay in the game, you can win the coin flip, march down the field.
Right. Oh, you got to
score
take
first.
the ball.
Got to take the ball against KC.
No, but I think the Colts, to me, seem like a competent enough team to stay in the game, at least for 3 quarters. But with those defensive injuries they have, and we saw it last week against the Raiders, no Leonard. I mean, they just didn't look like the same team they had the first couple weeks. So going into this week, Mac, let's just assume he's going to play. Billy, I mean, he's a must start, right?
Yeah, I think you got to start him
before last week.
I agree. Yeah,
but you don't feel great.
I feel okay about it. I do think he's a guy. The way that offense works, especially if Ty's out again, which we won't know until later in the week. But if he's out again, that offense isn't going to be big strikes. So even if they're passing to keep up, you could lock into a touchdown or two once they get down there.
And they're going to run early. Everyone acts like they're going to be down 21-0.
Right. No.
Opening kick. They're going to try to run early to keep Mahomes off the field. But I do think this could be a sneaky Nyheim Hines game. He had six catches on 6 targets last week, sort of playing that role. We were going to talk about Ty. He was next on the list.
I was going to say, I got some good news game script-wise for Matt after this week.
Can't wait.
So, because, I love to check out that schedule.
Your Joe schedule.
And
that's what we call
after KC, Houston, Denver, at Pitt, Miami, Jacksonville, at Houston.
Love it.
So
you're saying try to buy Mac right now?
I mean, I just think that game, like if that trend continues where they fall behind and Hines comes in and he wasn't injured this week, then after the Kansas City game, that shouldn't be a big problem. These are games they should be in.
Would you trade me the Pats D for Marlon Mack right now?
I don't need Marlon Mack,
but I need the Pats D. We all do, I think.
5th highest scoring team in fantasy.
That's right. So
5th highest scoring
non-quarterback
entity.
Number
player,
one
entity,
non-quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, the highest scoring team.
Non-scoring quarterback. All right, T.Y. Hilton, we'll talk about him. Obviously out last week. You did the breakdown, Billy, where it was like one guy led the team in snaps, a lot of targets.
Yeah, it was Pascal in yards and receptions, Campbell in targets, Kane in snaps, and Chester Rodgers caught a touchdown. So, and like they all sort of split time. There weren't like 2 guys that were like the main guys. I don't have any idea if you can start any of the other Colts, even if we knew today Hilton was out.
I think it's a mess besides tight end, because I
like the tight ends.
I'm pretty confident they're going to throw the tight ends in the red zone.
Yeah.
But the receivers, it's a total crapshoot.
You just can't start.
It's a crapshoot in a non-explosive offense.
Yeah, even though you like we all kind of like Brissett this week, even though we have no idea who he's going to throw to.
But it doesn't matter, right?
No,
he can use them all and have them all play different snaps and whatever.
And Campbell's dinged up.
It's like you
want. I think we. Not necessarily we in this room, editorial, we want to like Campbell as sort of the explosive player who can do some stuff, but he's kind of dinged up. I mean, those other guys, Chester Rodgers.
Brissett gets the benefit from all of them. He gets the benefit from Hines
and the
tight ends, but the receivers, it's not worth picking any of them.
Yeah, I do think if you're doing any sort of DFS that includes the Sunday night and you're like doing that thing where you put together 5 lineups and you like mix them up, like trying a couple of different Colts wide receivers. I feel like one will have a good game. We just have no idea who it's going to be.
Flip a coin.
That'd be like a Sunday night turbo.
Oh yeah, you got a turbo.
The Yahoo. Yahoo includes the Sunday night games.
Yeah, which that's always a little bit confusing when
people play DFS on Yahoo.
Yeah, a fair amount. Look at our numbers for our lineups. They're roughly the same as the other sites. A little bit lower.
Good for them.
It is good for Yahoo.
Good for Yahoo. They need some more business.
They really need it. All right. This one, Golden Tate, is kind of the impetus for this group, but it's players coming back from suspension. We're through 4 games for most teams. So Golden Tate's going to be back. Benjamin Watson's going to be back. Antonio Callaway's going to be back. Very forgotten guy who suddenly kind of matters. At least might matter. Big play guy. And then Chris Herndon, because the Jets had the bye, he won't be back this week, but he will be back next week. If you want to have him on your team, now is probably the time to pick him up if he's out there. If you look at these guys, who I think we can all say Callaway, if we ranked them, who would matter the most? I think we'd all put Tate 1. We'd probably put Herndon 2, Watson 3, Callaway 4, but are they all interesting enough they should be on teams?
I think Tate and Herndon for sure. Watson's almost like a wait and see how that'll affect the Patriots offense. I feel like Callaway is not useless because he's like a deep threat.
But Landry's dinged up.
They're not supporting two receivers. I mean, Landry went off, but Beckham didn't do anything. And I think everything that just happened with Chubb, I think they might realize that running the ball is the way to go. I just don't see how they're going to support three guys when they're barely supporting two.
Callaway's an interesting guy that just this week, if Landry's out, and if we say that Richard Sherman at least slows down Odell, he's obviously not old Richard Sherman, but
no, he's old Richard Sherman.
He is older Richard Sherman. That's true. But I think Callaway, nobody's thinking about him, obviously. Right. He's going to be available in every league. If you're in a spot, maybe you have Landry, getting Callaway on your bench, he's not going to be a bad guy to pivot to because, like you said, he's a big play guy. Right. But I think as soon as Landry's back, whoever becomes the third receiver
in his first week off suspension.
For sure.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
I'm not play him over, I don't know, even go
someone to watch list. Watch list Tony Callaway.
Sure.
I think he's a this week guy, and then I think he doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, depending on Landry. All right, we look smart at those guys. Moving on, good matchups, bad matchups for Week 5. The byes this week, the Dolphins and the Lions. You hate that the Dolphins are on bye because you want to play guys against them.
This will be the best week for their defense.
I know. This is going to be that 0 is going to be their high score.
It will be.
Yeah. So we're just going to look into these guys, not necessarily start sit, as we always say, just good matchups, bad matchups. Do with it what you will. We'll start at quarterback. Jameis Winston, the aforementioned Jameis Winston at New Orleans. Andy Dalton coming off just a turd of a game. He'll be playing at home against the Cardinals. Kirk Cousins, a turd of a season so far, be playing at the Giants. Jacoby Brissett, we mentioned him, at the Chiefs. Kyler Murray, he's in this one way or another, it feels, every week. He's at Cincinnati. So looking at that group, who do you see and you're like, oh yeah, I would definitely, obviously it depends who, if you have Patrick Mahomes, you're not starting these guys, but do you say, oh, that guy's top 12, he's a starter this week, sort of in a vacuum?
I think you'd start all of them. I mean, I know I can't put 5 of them in the top 12, but
even Andy Dalton.
Our waiver wire in our league reflected. I mean, at the time, 1, 2, 3, 4 of these guys were on. Everyone but Murray was on the waiver wire, and I looked at them. I've got Goff at Seattle Thursday night. I don't know how to feel about it.
It's a weird one.
For at least a second, I'd consider all 5 of these guys. I mean, I can't pick up Murray, but I'd consider all 5 of these guys over Goff. I don't know if I'd pull the trigger on it, but I think they all get good matchups.
All right.
And
well, how about this? I'll be selfish. I have the Iceman, Matt Ryan, Mr. 300 yards, but looks terrible doing it. He's this week playing Houston. Who would you start in this group over Matt Ryan?
I wouldn't start anyone over Matt Ryan.
Yeah, neither do I.
You have Goff, who's been, I don't know statistically if he's been better than Ryan. Probably not. Ryan was 10th in QB fantasy points because he garbage times his way every week to good numbers. But is there a difference between Matt Ryan and Goff? Really?
There's a difference between Houston, I feel like, and at Seattle.
Seattle's been giving up a lot of passing. I think gave up Andy Dalton 418 in week 1.
The guy here that's weird, I think, is Cousins because we know Minnesota wants to run the ball. You wonder if they want to get Cousins right.
Well, there's grumbling. Adam Thielen grumbled a little bit.
We know that the Giants aren't really good, but does that mean...
Way worse of a pass defense than run defense.
But does that mean Cook and the Statesman, Alexander Madison, run all over them and they just take the W, go up big and whatever? Or do they throw it around a little bit against a bad D and trying to get Cousins right?
I kind of lean toward that.
Yeah.
But, it's tough to say. I like Cousins this week. Like I've said before on Jameis, I'm worried. Brissett I like this week. Obviously, Murray looks good this week, although that team is bad and that offense is bad.
Murray?
Now he has no curve.
I don't know. He doesn't... He runs around a little. I feel like he gets garbage time, but...
Yeah, they're starting to let him run.
They have let him run a little bit.
He's not doing as well passing.
He doesn't throw it downfield. I don't know.
And he's short. I don't know if you guys have seen him, but he's short.
He's not tall.
Yeah, and Dalton is weird. I mean, now with no Ross, but we'll get to Auden Tate later. God, he looks the part. But we'll get to that later. But yeah, Dalton, I would I'd be worried about him. But hey, non-primetime games, that's when Andy Dalton comes to shine.
Yeah, this is a weird list. It tests our good matchup, bad matchup thing, because I bet almost everybody has a quarterback that's on paper just...
They look better than those in a lineup.
Look at the bad. I mean, the bad, there's 4
let's
pretty
bring
much every week starting quarterbacks.
Let's bring up the bad. Dak Prescott versus Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers at Dallas. Old 215-2 Aaron Rodgers. Phil Rivers against Denver. And Baker Mayfield, another guy who's on this list every week. They keep having bad matchups. So, yeah, that's the question. How many of these guys do you start over those 4? I still think Dak, I give him the benefit of the doubt, even though after last week didn't do well. To me, he's a must start. He has to be in your lineup. Those other 3, I mean, I'm not feeling that great about any of them.
I mean, I feel okay starting Rivers, I think. Like, they chuck it all the time, and
Chubb's out now.
It's a home game. Yeah, Chubb's out.
But Melvin Gordon coming back, does that ruin
Yeah, but
things?
they're still not going to – I mean, they're not going to pound him with 30 carries.
No, but there's just more.
Yeah, there's more guys.
Eckler's still going to get his touches.
It's probably better than worse.
Rivers got a good floor. Let's say that. He's got a good floor. Okay. I don't see him completely bottoming out at home against Denver. The Rodgers thing is weird because you have like at Dallas is a bad matchup.
With no Davante.
But with that part's bad. But the Dallas part of it, Dallas has faced Eli, Keenum, Josh Rosen and Bridgewater.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at like their fantasy points
doesn't
against,
mean anything.
It doesn't mean a lot. Like they might have a good D.
That's like
I don't know, but those quarterbacks don't inspire.
No, not
That's
at all.
like I was looking at Houston's allowed the most receptions to running backs, and I looked at who they've played, and it's been Kamara, McCaffrey, Fournette, and Austin Eckler.
Right.
So it's like, are they really bad against running backs, or they just face 4 of the best receiving backs?
Right.
At least 3 of the best plus Fournette.
But but the Rodgers thing with no Adams.
Yeah, I think he's a sit.
So would you play Andy Dalton or Kirk Cousins over him?
I would play Cousins. Dalton is tougher. Even though he's chucking the ball. That's just it. Dalton is chucking the ball a lot.
Right.
That game's going to be at a super fast tempo, so there should be more plays. Dalton is probably the guy to play, but there's something about
Dalton's such a weird guy because he's never a starter on a fantasy team, right?
Right.
He's always a bye week guy. And sometimes he has like 3 TD games, right?
Sure.
He never gets talked about as these like terrible quarterbacks.
Right.
But he's not great.
Well, I think people kind of think of him as a terrible quarterback in real life.
But they never, no one's ever like, well, can't, because I think you're not starting him already.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And he's got a good matchup.
And there's going to be a lot of plays.
But he's down.
And they can't run.
But now he's down. He's had AJ Green for years.
Right.
Obviously he's been without him all
down
season.
Ross.
Down Ross, who's coming into his own.
But Tyler Eifert's getting a touchdown. I mean, tight end against the
you got Auden Tate.
he looks the part.
I think it's going to be, if you got Boyd in a PPR league this week, he's going to get peppered with targets.
Catches. Yeah, I know. Dalton should be played. Yeah, I mean, Billy's right. Cousins, they don't throw, but I do think they're going to throw more. I just think he's got 2, I'm not going to say elite receivers, but upper tier receivers.
But so Cousins is interesting because we mock Rodgers for the 250 and 2 being like his like average and his floor maybe.
Well, no, his average in the first 3 games was 217 and
it was worse.
Well, less
it
than
was
2.
worse. But my point I was going to make is that I feel like Cousins' ceiling this week is 250
It
and 2.
might be.
Right. Well, we mock Rodgers because Rodgers is like a top, 3 quarterback off the board in the drafts, and Cousins is a top 15.
And one of the best of all time.
Right.
But the other thing, so you say that about Cousins. So I feel like Cousins is either going to have that game where it's like only 200 yards but 3 touchdowns, like they throw them all short, or it's going to be a lot of yards but only 2 touchdowns.
Just one note on the Giants: they do have last week's NFC Defensive Player of the Week, Janoris Jenkins.
That's a good point.
You got to be scared of that.
That's a great point.
But no, I would go. I feel good about Jameis over all these guys, over all the bad guys.
See, I don't, but that's
you just hate
biased.
Jameis.
I'm biased and I'm digging in. I'm doubling.
Was it your lobster?
I'm doubling down. Yeah, Jameis is my lobster.
No, I mean, like,
Did he steal yours?
was it your lobster that he
I was
stole?
doing a friend's reference. He gets, you don't. No, he didn't take my lobster, but he still. I don't know. He did something to me. Baker Mayfield. Are we worried about him coming off a good game?
Worried about him. Yeah, that pass rush. They haven't stopped good pass rushes this season.
He does have Antonio Callaway back though.
Yeah, especially if Landry's out though.
San Fran field could be sloppy. Although I'm going out there.
Yeah, we're going to the
I'm going
field.
out there this weekend.
Field conditions.
And it's supposed to be like it's abnormally hot out there, so could be a dry field out there. So not too sloppy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would play.
I put Mayfield
Jameis,
like that 15.
Brissett, Murray, and maybe Dalton over Mayfield.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What a weird world we live in.
They're gonna pound at the Chubb the rest of the season.
Well, yeah,
He just hasn't been that good when he's thrown. I mean, he had a good week last week, but that was sort of coincidental almost.
Yeah, and he still threw like an ugly pick. Feels like he's still gonna.
He doesn't. He's not seeing the field. He's not seeing the field very well.
He's a gunslinger. Let's go to running back. Favorable matchups. The 2 Chargers backs against Denver. The Steelers backs. We already kind of talked about them against Baltimore's been weird because they obviously got decimated by Nick Chubb last week. They've had some good games against running backs. I said to Billy, I'm like, well, they've also played the Dolphins, so I feel like that evens out. The Dolphins.
Well, and the Cardinals.
Yeah,
they play Cardinals
who
week 2?
Who don't run great.
Yeah.
And then the Chiefs guys, they had a really high average against them, even though they didn't run a ton. The Seahawks backs against the Rams, statistically a good matchup, and the Chiefs backs against Indy. So Melvin Gordon is probably a guy a lot of people are going to wonder about. What do we do with him? I think because of that matchup, I mean, Leonard Fournette just ran all over this team. Josh Jacobs did really well against them back in week 1. They've struggled against the run, and now Chubb's out. I think both those guys are must starts.
You think Gordon 15 carries? Think it's a good number?
I'd say 12 to 15.
Yeah,
It depends how
13.
high of a lead they get. I do think Eckler is still going to obviously be the primary receiving back. The thing about the Chargers, though, there's no Gordon will get goal line. I've sort of said it feels like he will because I feel like they are going to want to get him in that zone. But if they're just running their offense and Eckler happens to be the one out there, he'll get a 2-yard carry.
Yeah.
By the goal line. So I don't know. I mean, do you think there's any reason to leave Gordon on your bench?
I think
I think you start both of them.
you start both of them too.
Yeah.
I think at this point you've sat on Gordon too long.
I could see not starting Gordon in PPR leagues. Because obviously you've been starting 3 other backs this whole time.
I mean, if you got an injured guy or someone's on bye,
right.
I guess. But I wouldn't look for a reason to bench Gordon.
Right. If you have Kalen Balazs and he's on bye. Right. Yeah, exactly. All right.
Still thinking about Frank Gore and those feet.
Yeah, we all are. You got a foot thing going on. All right. Steelers, we already talked about them. We don't need to worry about them. The Seahawks, so sounds like Penny's going to be back. The Rams have been bad against the run. It feels like they should be better, but they haven't been. Chris Carson he didn't fumble. Biggest thing he didn't do in week 4. He looked good.
Played a really physical game.
Just running
He was
over
running
dudes.
people over, but now he's got a game on Thursday. Can his body recover in
Good question.
4 days?
Good question. I feel like he's a must
He's a
start.
You have to
must start.
start Carson,
He's
yeah.
a must start. I could see.
But I'm still, as a Carson owner, I'm still worried.
I could see.
I just don't trust him ever.
Yeah, I mean, I could see.
Do you have trust issues?
him not having?
I do. Jameis.
I could see that game being a little disappointing just because of a turnaround for a running back. He was running over people.
He was.
See if he can recover.
Yeah, and the broadcast was obsessed with him. They
Yeah.
kept showing him on the sideline, talking about him. But I guess the question is, Rashad Penny, how many touches is he going to get
Penny's irrelevant this week.
for fantasy purposes?
Yes. I
Right.
mean, not in real life. Penny is an individual who matters.
You don't think Penny is relevant to Carson's stats? Like
Right.
not saying
He'll be
starting
relevant
Penny.
in that way.
Right, but we've just said that Carson's a must start. So
Right.
at that point, we're saying if you own Rashad Penny, do you care about Rashad Penny this week? And I don't think you do.
Right. I mean, that's fair. The thing is, it feels like Carson's a must start. That's sort of what we're getting at.
Right.
And should he feel that way, though? Because Pete Carroll does weird things. Pete Carroll will just come out and do something you don't expect.
He's a must start. I don't think you're finding a reason to put Carson on your bench, but I would say prepare for carries to be divvied up.
I'm
maybe
preparing
not
to be
your
upset.
liking, just because. And I'm basing it totally on the fact that it's on Thursday.
That does affect things for sure. So the Chiefs guys, we don't know the status of Damian Williams yet. Let's just assume he's going to be out. Either way, it's McCoy is kind of the main guy to talk about, and then it's one of the Williams. One of the D Williams will be the other guy. Playing Indy, who's been really bad against the run this year. Is that, I mean, I guess McCoy is kind of setting lineups now, even though.
It still looks quick.
Yeah.
He looks fairly quick. But that's one
Doesn't
where.
really carry the ball close to his body, though.
He's just loaf of bread in that thing out there. Can you play the D, whichever D Williams is backing up LaShawn McCoy?
Well, I think you can play Darrell Williams if Damian Williams is out because we've seen 2 straight weeks where he's produced.
Had a lot of snaps. Did he out-snap McCoy last week?
Yeah, 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
But got the 2 goal line touchdowns. I mean, he was in there goal line and in 2-minute drill, which is a good sign for what they think of him. But if Damian Williams is back, I would be concerned about both of the Williams because
I
don't know if
out if Damian's back.
that's what we all think, right? But there would already be doubt because it's like, okay, he's sort of the number 2 back, and then it's like, oh, what if they keep this guy who's been productive like in a bigger role than he had before, which like isn't just out of the realm of possibility. So I don't really think you could play Damian if he's active.
Right.
I'm going to throw this one out at you guys. They're not going to have a rushing touchdown.
Okay.
Mahomes he had 0 last week.
That's true.
He's throwing 5 this week.
And if Ty Hill's back, especially,
he's got to
There
get
could be
back.
2 to running backs.
He's got to get back on his pace. And
does that mean Kelsey gets some?
I would think so.
Fingers
I'll
crossed.
say this. Can I say this? And this is even a bold prediction. Mahomes gets 4.
Okay.
He gets 4 TDs this week.
Right.
That's it.
I'm going to say 4. He probably gets 5, but I'm going to definitely he gets.
But he
4.
might throw 1 or 2 to a running back.
He could. there won't be a rushing touchdown.
But it's like Damian Williams. See, that's why I think Damian Williams in PPR is still at least a flex, just because that seems to be his role if he's active.
I'm just scared that somehow they decide, because like they already did the thing where everybody thought Darwin was like the backup,
Right.
and then he wasn't. Like, what if they're just like, yeah, Darrell Williams is in a good rhythm, we're gonna stick with him. Like,
Yeah, they could. I mean, it's a risk, but McCoy, I think, has
you got to
be
play
in.
McCoy.
So where other teams like they have a game and they're like, we got to run the ball better. We got to work on our offensive line. They're like, we have to throw the ball 40 yards downfield better, and that's all they're doing in practice this week.
all they should be doing.
That's all they're doing.
Yeah, no need to practice real plays. All right, the bad matchups. Everyone's favorite breakout, Ronald Jones at the Saints. We got Josh Jacobs in London.
This is just my team.
Yeah, Josh Jacobs in London against the Bears. That
And the
mess,
Nats team.
the mess of a 49ers backfield against Cleveland. Tevin Coleman might be back. I don't even know. Middle reliever Jeff Wilson Jr. I think he had a couple.
He's turned into a closer.
He might be
Those
an
TDs.
opener, actually.
Yeah.
Now that we're in
He does it
playoff
all.
baseball.
He does it all.
And Wayne Gallman, my boy, the Gallman Brothers band versus Minnesota, but with Saquon Barkley possibly.
Barkley's not playing.
He's not gonna play.
Possibly.
He's not
They wouldn't
playing.
do it. Not ahead of a Thursday
We
night
read
game.
one
95%.
We read one Roto World update.
Yeah.
Well, it escalated from he was like jogging. He was in full uniform. Okay.
First things
full,
first.
Full Sunday uniform. Apparently
things
at practice, jogging on the side to Shermer wouldn't rule him out,
Right.
but he's not playing.
Yeah, he's not playing.
So Saquon Barkley's probably playing.
Billy, can you check the fax machine see if we have any new news on Saquon?
So he's probably out. We'll assume he's out for at least one more week. They do have the Week 6 Thursday nighter in Foxborough that I think Eli's starting just to, like he's just playing the first play just to spook Bill Belichick and all Patriots fans.
And then they'll throw a pick.
Well, he might do a bootleg design run. So
That would be something.
you look at that, wouldn't see it coming.
That's true.
So-
He still wouldn't get any yards.
Ronald Jones. We're doing 3 out of 4 weeks. Ronald Jones has been good. I'm pretty sure I read that he's Pro Football Focus's #1 ranked running back so far this year.
Well, that's
How?
He has an
that is
absurd amount of
something.
missed tackles, making
I have seen
defenders
that
miss.
he like doesn't get tackled.
Well, this sucks because he's got, like you said, 3 out of 4 weeks over 70 yards.
Right.
It's like you feel like the tide is like about
And
to
they
turn.
pounded him last week once they got the lead.
Exactly. And you're like, all right, I've had him on my bench.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready to go. Let's get him in the lineup. Who's he got this week? He's at New Orleans.
He's at New Orleans, who good against now. I think you wrote, Billy, they're allowing 4.3 yards a carry.
Yeah, I mean they've been
They
been
shut
fine.
down Zeke last week, though.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah. That
exactly.
the recency bias definitely worries me. Yeah.
So you look at Jones. So here's my thing with Jones, and I guess I must have a Tampa Bay bias because I feel, Jameis, I don't think you can trust him at all. I think he's been even on carries, basically. He was in week 3, even though he outproduced Barber, they were basically even on carries.
Right.
Last week, it was pretty much dead even until they got the 2-score lead late, and they said, okay, Jones, you're our closer.
Right.
So if they don't have a lead, does that translate? If they need to pass more, does that mean, hey, Peyton Barber, we'd rather have you in for pass protection? I
Well,
don't.
but Darius in when they pass.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, exactly. So it's not Ronald Jones. That's the point.
They're making it difficult, and it doesn't need to
So
be.
I don't think you can look at last week's box score and see 19 carries, whatever he had, and say, oh, he's breaking out. He's the man. I still think this is a split with Dare also in there to take snaps away, and he's more talented. He's got more upside than Peyton Barber. That's for damn sure. I still think he is a total wild card.
They're going to give him the start against New Orleans. He's going to do bad, and it's going to be like.
Is he going to get the start though? I could see
I'm
Barber
just saying,
still
like
trotting out.
they're going to like give him the early carries. He's going to fall on
think
his
that's even
face,
true.
and then you're going to have to wait 3 more weeks for him to win the job again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean I think I'm like pretty convinced Jones has sort of pushed Barber out of the way.
Thought that after week 1.
That's true, but it was a lot more even that week. This week he played a lot more. I think more concerning is just that New Orleans run defense, and like if you don't think the Bucs are going to be able to run against them, then like you really can't play Jones. But like if for some reason you feel like New Orleans run defense has played over their head and they're going to give up a lot of rushing yards, like Jones is going to be the guy to get him, I think.
And he's still not a big pass catcher, so that hurts him in PPR. He's just such a tough guy to trust. Like, he almost is going to have to do a full season of being good and getting the majority of carries before people start to trust him.
I feel like he's like Frank Gore in like this sort of like, he's not exciting. I don't really know if I want to play him, but like he would work as a flex.
Well, I
kinda
think
range.
he is exciting because he's young, so people think,
Well, right,
He's a classic guy that like he needed a little schedule luck. Like 2 or 3 bad matchups and bad run defenses, good matchups in a row. And then I think you have that second year back. I'm excited. He's got, but like, it's like I feel like he's right there, and then it's like bad matchup.
I know. It's a weird one. He's a weird one. I just don't feel great. But look, the talent's there, obviously. So Josh Jacobs, this was the exciting rookie everyone loved after the first couple weeks. Sort of going downhill a bit.
He's been fine.
He's been fine, but nothing great.
Nothing special. He's been fine.
And the
literally
Bears,
fine.
Obviously, the Bears, yes, he is a fine running back. The Bears, great defense. We all know that. You know, I've been digging in the stats. I'm like, well, they give up a pretty good amount of passes and receiving yards to backs, but
It's not what Jacobs does.
as much as John Gruden says we want to use him more, and they're not using Jalen Richard in that role. So
No, they just aren't throwing it back. They're using Darren Waller in that role.
Apparently. So, it's tough to say sit Jacobs, but he's kind of like Mac, very game flow dependent. And
not just game flow, but like opposing defense dependent.
Right.
well, sure.
And
yeah.
he's just like not as good as me. I feel it.
Because we
I'm
saw him
like
get shut
all
down
in
by the
on.
Vikings.
I'm all in on sitting Jacobs this week unless
Okay.
you don't have
Some
a
of
way
us
to.
don't have the luxury. If
Yeah,
I sit
unless you're
Jacobs, I
Eric.
have to play Jones.
Right. Yeah.
I probably would play Jones over Jacobs, but
Right. Yeah. I
I mean the
there's a
Chicago
case,
defense, man. I mean Oakland might get 3 first downs in this game. Like
But it's a London game. How does that skew things?
That's a long way from Oakland.
How about the fact that Khalil Mack, he didn't say the words revenge game, but he said, like, I want to basically stick it
Are
to
you
the
kidding me? He's
Ravens.
going to have 15 tackles, 7 for loss, 4 of them are going to be sacks.
Yeah. I like
better
when
go- I
narratives
better go
just
bench
always
Jacobs.
work. It's tough, but I think I'd play him over Jones, but I get why people would argue the other way.
I will trade you
Ooh,
Philip
live
Lindsay
trade.
for
And I'll trade you Royce
Darren
Freeman.
Waller.
So
Why you
I'll
want
trade
Darren
you.
Waller
Let's
so
do a
bad?
3-team. I'll give you Freeman.
Okay.
So you can have them both.
Okay.
Matt
deep.
just gets
I
Auden
don't
Tate in this
really
deal.
That's
need
deep, and
backs.
Auden Tate.
I could use a third wide receiver.
You need a back this week.
Oh, I got wide receivers, man. Philip Dorsett, Will Fuller, probably someone else. I think Trey Quinn's still on my team.
You know what I
wanted
need?
him
If you guys
preseason.
can trade me a healthy Saquon Barkley, because honestly, I feel like
I can do that.
my team is
and his
straight.
name's Wayne Gallman.
My team is straight. I just need Barkley on it.
I can do that. Hey,
He's on it.
Did Saquon Barkley score 2 touchdowns in a game this year? Nope.
No.
Guess who has?
The Gallman.
Make it Wayne. All right, 49ers backs. Tevin Coleman, will he be back? We don't know. Even if he's not, this is still a mess. Let's say he is. You can't start any.
You
of them.
can't start any of Coleman's
Any.
back.
Actually, if he's back, either way, if he's back or not back, I still like Mostert the most out of all of them.
Agreed.
Just because he's explosive, he's active in the receiving game, but it's a wash, right?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
situation's a mess.
Someone will score a touchdown, but we can't predict
Probably
who.
Jeff
Probably
Wilson
Jeff
Jr.
Wilson
The
Jr.
one
Probably
you least,
JWJ.
the one you were least thinking about starting, the least owned one.
Or
Probably.
actually, this will probably the week Breida gets the 16-yarder,
Yeah.
and everyone who owns them is pissed.
and Breida's got to get his carries.
Well, yeah, both Breida and Breida. I mean, God, they got 5 backs.
How do they have enough roster spots for these guys?
I don't get it. Mostert and Mozart. All right, throw the 49ers out. Forget about them. And then Gallman.
Coleman's the odd man. We have no nickname for Tevin Coleman. We got Mozart.
Matt calls him Tab all the time.
I call him, Tev.
And
Because
we have our little joke about Jeff Wilson junior We got the Breida jokes. Coleman just
lame.
got nothing
Boring.
for him.
I guess he needs to fall out of favor there because he's no use to
What
us.
was the Tevin Campbell song?
Yeah, old Little T. We call him Little T. That's what Tevin Campbell was before he grew up. All right, Wayne Gallman against the Vikings. Not Saquon Barkley, probably, but Wayne Gallman obviously coming off the huge game. 24 touches, 6 receptions, I believe. So I know like Vinny, SN, Sporting News NFL writer Vinny Iyer was like, I don't like Gallman this week, sit him. I just don't know how you can sit him with that kind of volume. And
That's a volume of a game they were in, a game against a bad team.
But he should have volume again because I think even if they fall behind, he gets the reception. You look at who they're playing, it's John Hilleman. They don't really have a receiving back behind him. So
Minnesota's just going to have the ball for 40 minutes.
you think so? They're going to be throwing though. Quick
They're
scores.
not going to be throwing.
They'll be throwing more. I think they'll be throwing more.
You
probably-
threw
you're
like
probably right.
36 passes last
You probably
week.
have
Well,
to
yeah, they
start
were losing.
You probably have
Yeah.
to start
And they did
Gallman,
nothing.
but if you think
They're
you're going to
facing
get
the
what you
Bears.
got last week out of Gallman, I think you're mistaken.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get 25 fantasy points. Thanks, Professor.
I think
Just
I would.
letting you know, man.
I
Just
think I would-
bracing you.
Thanks.
I'm just
Thanks for
bracing
letting
you.
me know.
When you're crying to me on Sunday,
I'm not going to be crying. Not about Wayne Gallman. I'll be crying about the Will Fuller, Philip Dorsett decision I have to make.
I think you start Gallman over Jacobs and Ronald Jones, but
I agree.
you don't feel great about it.
No, I agree completely.
Right, so Matt is the best back out of the two of us this week.
God, I'm really good.
You are good at fantasy football.
Thanks. All right, so yeah, Wayne Gallman, he's a tough one, but I think he definitely is at least a flex just based on volume. All right, let's get to wide receiver. Good matchups. Jets receivers against the Eagles. Pats, and really we'll just say Dorsett there because I think Gordon and Edelman are safely in lineups against the Redskins. The Steelers guys, I got a lot to say about them. Against Baltimore on paper, that's a good one. Hollywood Brown, who's been kind of quiet the last couple weeks, despite a fair amount of targets, is against Pittsburgh. Will Fuller, my nemesis.
We need him, man.
Against Atlanta. And Bengals receivers, which Tyler Boyd, who targets are there, but the production's not. And then that guy who just looks good, Auden Tate.
Got good arms.
Against Arizona.
He must work out with Josh Gordon.
God, 6'5", red zone monster. So, looking at the Jets, I guess this depends on if Sam Darnold's back.
Yeah, I think that Crowder has an interesting case even with Falk just because, like, that's the kind of passing game it would be, and that Philly secondary is really, really, really bad.
It feels like this should be a Robbie Anderson game. Like, they should get beat deep, but
I just don't know if Falk's executing that stuff. So I think Crowder's like a flex standard play and play him in PPR.
Even though he's done nothing with non-Sam Darnold.
I think this is a game where they've
Philly
had the
bye week to get Falk acclimated.
The Philly run defense is good. I think there'll be a lot of dump offs, which will go to Bell, but they'll also go to Crowder. I think Anderson is a pretty good play if Darnold's playing, but
he's definitely a DFS play, right?
With Darnold, yeah.
Yeah, I mean almost either way because he could.
I guess you could try him either way because it only takes one.
Can throw it downfield.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I feel like Mason Rudolph can.
Right.
I've seen him connect.
Did it at Oklahoma State.
Right.
It's still living off that Oklahoma State film.
High flying. But yeah, it's just tough when the quarterback situation.
But that matchup is so good. If there's
It is. Yeah. So Pat, Philip Dorsett against Washington. You know, anytime you got three wide receivers, now Watson's back in the fold. It's always tough to, start a third wide receiver, but he's good. I mean, he was good and then did nothing last week, but no one did anything last week.
Yeah, you can't expect Dorsett to score every week. So the fact that he didn't moves him up the rankings this week.
In fact, Will Fuller hasn't scored in 4 weeks.
It's the Will Fuller. It's the regression. Everyone's like, he can't score as much as he's scoring.
Positive regression.
Now positive regression is about to kick in. So, old Philly, we feeling good about him this week?
Oh, Phil Dorsett?
Yeah.
Is that what we're calling him, Philly?
I am.
You're feeling all right about him.
I didn't want to say Dorsett because I've already said Dorset and Dorsett. It was Breida Bright all over again, and it was in my head.
Yeah, I feel okay about him. Like, Dorsett's just weird. He's weird, like, because he's going to score. I think he's going to have some big plays, but I don't know how you can ever predict when they're going to come.
Washington is bad, though, man.
They are bad.
Although they did a good job last week against the Giants in terms of their secondary, at least.
Yeah.
Made Daniel Jones look kind of bad.
Made him look human.
He's
Winston Wolf needed to apply to Daniel Jones last week.
So in the next 2 weeks, probably aren't going to go that well for him either against the Vikings and Pats. So I think Dorsett's on the border of a wide receiver 3 with a lot of upside. So the Steelers.
This is all you. Go for it.
No. I'm not going to get in too much about needing 5.5 points from JuJu and a half-point PPR and him getting 3. I'm not going to get into that. The point is Mason Rudolph looked terrible. And he just checks down. And then he hits his one pass to Deontay Johnson. I don't know what to expect from these guys.
What's funny, though, when did JuJu become like the deep threat? Because I feel like last year it was he was benefiting from being in the slot and Antonio Brown being on the outside and Roethlisberger hitting him over and over. And they were like Antonio Brown owners, I feel like, that were like, oh, all the easy passes are going to JuJu. So now all of a sudden,
it all changes.
He's the deep guy and these other guys are getting the dump offs.
Yeah, and the fly sweep, technically passes. So I think this applies. I'm not going to sit JuJu. I don't think anyone who drafted him in the first or second round is. You just feel like you can't. But look, he's had one play the last 2 weeks, and it was a big play. It was a 75-yard touchdown, whatever it is, and I think that's why you keep starting him. But I'm definitely worried. I mean, that offense just looks terrible, at least for him. And, Baltimore hasn't been great this year. So I guess the real question, though, is Deontay Johnson. Touchdowns in 2 straight weeks. They're both at least 39 yards. If they run the same gimmick offense, he's going to get a lot of those little cheap passes, quote unquote. Right. Can you start him?
I don't think you can start him. I think I was looking at it. His ownership went up, but he's owned in 25% of Yahoo leagues. I think he's a guy that if you've got a spot to stash, I mean, that offense isn't going to be great with Rudolph.
I think he's definitely worth stashing.
So, but no, I don't think I would start him this week unless you're in I don't know, you had Galladay and you're in a pinch, but.
Because what are the odds he scores 3 straight weeks, right? With a quarterback who...
Not high. But
JuJu, right? You're not even thinking about it.
I mean, I'm not thinking I have what I had preseason with JuJu.
obviously.
But you got to start him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Like, okay, so
because I own JuJu in a league, and
so using guys
not
from
looking at
this
other guys.
list,
Yeah,
Dorsett, Will Fuller, any of the Jets guys, you're not starting them over JuJu, right? Feels stupid.
no, because we're still in small sample size range. Yeah, he had a terrible week this past week, and he had the one big play last week or the week before, which you can say that was all he did, or you could say
that's fluky, or
that he did that.
That's what he does.
But it's still like we still don't know what.
Right.
I mean, Rudolph can get better. They can expand the offense a little bit. They can decide, hey, JuJu's our best receiver. We should maybe give him some of the easy balls. So
the defense should be loosened up now if the Ravens are like, oh, they're going to do their stupid little fly sweeps again, and now they can take some
not
deep
like
shots
rushing
to
the judgment to just like bench a top 10 preseason receiver.
I agree. All right, Hollywood Brown hasn't done a ton the past couple weeks. Pittsburgh, though, pretty bad pass defense, at least in non-Andy Dalton primetime games. How do you feel about him?
Play him.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I mean, he's a rookie. You should assume he's going to be inconsistent when the season starts, right?
He should. I guess the real question with him is, so now Lamar Jackson's played a couple tougher defenses and hasn't looked as good.
But they're still throwing it.
Right.
Which is a good sign.
And in his direction, a decent amount.
Yeah. All right. Well, Fuller, my nemesis.
He's due.
This
the week, play on that fast Atlanta turf.
Just got burned by A.J. Brown, man.
Yeah.
Fuller's like
and Corey Davis, for that matter.
Yeah, but I mean, Desmond Trufant looked like he was lost. You got to play Fuller.
And Fuller, we always keep saying it, but last 2 weeks he should have had long touchdowns.
Right, and week 1 he could have had one too. So 3 out of 4 weeks he could have had the long one. So
it's coming.
So it's going to be 4 out of 5. He could have had the long one.
It's coming.
We're due, baby.
All right.
Or it's also due for a hamstring pull, which kind of sucks because that's coming too.
I forgot about that. All right, the Bengals. I guess Boyd, even though he hasn't really done a ton this year, he's locked into lineups, I would guess. They're playing Arizona at home. But Tate, we've joked a lot about him here, but the last 2 weeks, 10 catches, 16 targets, around, 150 yards. He's kind of been their best receiver, I think. I mean, are you starting him this week? You picked him up, Eric. Are you starting him?
On that team, I don't think I'm starting him, but I would start him. I think he should be starting.
In a vacuum.
I should be starting. A lot of teams should be starting him this week.
I mean, he's going to be so chalky in DFS. He's almost not worth having.
You tell me then.
But
would you start? My choices are him, 2 out of 3, him or Allen Robinson, which I know you love, and Emmanuel Sanders. I think those guys are still better plays than him.
Yeah, Robinson.
I think so.
Robinson with Chase Daniel, how does that affect him?
He's throwing to him last week.
It's going to be a Trey Burton game, though.
No, it's not.
Oh, yeah, it is. So...
But it's also against a bad Raider D. So
I know.
Yeah.
I think he's still third on my list. But I think he could probably be in a lot of lineups. Although who's out this week? Really just Galladay, right?
Right.
Yeah,
San Fran
Williams, that's not Marvin Jones.
There's not a lot of bye receivers, so
right.
But he is interesting compared to really all these guys we've got on the bad list. He's probably in the same range as them.
Right. So yeah, let's look at them. Terry McLaurin, assuming he's back against the Pats. Packers guys, we already talked about them against Dallas. Old Charknado at Carolina. John Brown, who might be playing with Matt Barkley against Tennessee. And Tyrell Williams scored in every game this year playing the Bears over in London. So, yeah, I guess who would you start Tate over in that group? I think all of them.
I don't know. I wouldn't do it over Chark.
Really?
That's fair.
He's getting a lot of love. He's getting love in the red zone. He's getting deep love. He's getting
because he had a touchdown last week called back. I mean, so Minshew.
I think
he's throw it to
I
him.
think Chark is basically
must
start every week. Well, he at least right now he never has to face Jalen Ramsey, right?
Juice Chark.
So
yeah,
and assuming he's been working on Jalen Ramsey in practice, so he's prepared for all these other guys
now. Yeah. So no, I think that's fair. John Brown, if Allen's back, I still like him just because he gets good volume. People think of him as sort of a boomer bust, but the volume's there.
Titans' pass defense has been surprisingly good, though.
It's solid. Yeah. So
I would feel fine about Brown, but I do think even with Allen, I might play Tate over Brown.
I could see it. Yeah. And Tyrell, we're just sort of ignoring.
Yeah, and he missed practice today, so who knows?
Yeah, well, jet lag. And then McLaurin, I guess, is the big one. Obviously, was the talk of all rookie receivers, and then.
What's his status? Is he practicing?
Yeah, I mean, it really snuck up on people, the injury, and there was reports, yeah, he's going to play. It's just a minor thing, and then he's out. this
Well,
week.
right. He went through warm-ups on last Sunday, so I would sort of assume he's going to be fine, but he's going to get a heavy dose of
Never know.
Steph Gilmore.
Hamstrings are tricky.
I don't see any.
And then playing the
news on
Pats,
him.
that's the big thing. So, yeah, I kind of think he's a sit. But I think people who have him are like, oh, I got to play him. He's a cool rookie who scored every game he's played.
I think he's a straight up sit against the Pats.
I think
Straight
so, too.
up sit.
They've allowed one
Sit
offensive
your ass
touchdown. He's going to get locked up by one of the best corners in the league.
Right.
Like maybe
Coming
he'll
off
get
a hammy.
maybe he'll have 4 for 60, but he's not going to score. And like
That's an
No
easy,
garbage time?
That's an easy.
They're not gonna move
Patriots
the
don't
ball.
do garbage time. They
Well, now that they've allowed a touchdown, though, I think
that's
it's
like-
different.
Yeah, they still want to keep that down. I think he's an easy sit, to be honest.
Easy sit. Terry McLaurin. You heard it here first. Eric Ferreira says easy sit. All right. There was just a jerk-off motion made in the studio.
I just saw an alert.
Steven Gostkowski's on IR.
Oh.
Which is fine because he's terrible now.
They can vend Terry back?
That's the move. That's the move. They're waiting for him to retire / get cut
This is only
from Indy,
the
and
third
then he's
kicker
coming
since,
back.
what, 98?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a long one.
Like in my life.
Doug Flutie did kick.
Drop kick.
Drop kick that extra point.
Get Flutie back. All right, tight end. We're going to spend a lot
Oh, how we doing on time?
this
We
one.
doing good? We doing good?
Not at all.
Adequate. All right, tight end.
Tight end talk.
Good.
Go.
Who's playing the Cardinals? It's Tyler Eifert.
Is that the
this week.
first thing you do on
Yes.
Monday or Tuesday morning? You're
Absolutely.
Like, I got to find my tight end.
Oh, we're doing it the week before.
It's like
but
Miami.
yeah.
It's like Miami for defense and Arizona for tight end.
That's right. Dude, I've been hoarding the Redskins defense for 3 weeks,
You love
waiting
playing
for
the long
Miami in week 6.
Wait, have you really?
Well, I picked them up. I actually liked them
This is
last
Matt
week
playing the long
because they
game
were
with
playing the
defenses.
Giants.
Wait, in our league, you've just owned the Redskins defense for multiple weeks?
Yeah, well,
He
I
also
got them
talks,
before last
He also
week.
talks himself into thinking that the other 11 people in the league are thinking just like him.
Yeah.
So it bumps it from I need to get him a week early to I need to get him
2
3
weeks.
weeks early.
I know.
It's like Eric probably
Pretty
knows.
bad.
Eric's probably going to grab. But I got the Pats D, bro. You can have free
11th
reign.
round pick.
You can have free reign
And I would just
over
never
streaming
pick up the
defenses.
Redskins defense. So.
Look, they were pretty good last week. They had 4 takeaways.
Good for them.
Former number 1 pick. Washington Redskins D back in the
right.
State Street Bank
Deion Sanders.
Fantasy League sometime in the early 2000s.
Tyler Eifert against the Cardinals, just automatic. 2 guys people hate. Jared Cook against the Bucks. Trey Burton against the Raiders in England. Noah Fanta at the Chargers. And Dawson Knox. Sporting News, a favorite, Dawson Knox around the office where we have a shocking amount of Bills fans. So, I mean, I don't even think we need to talk about Eifert. 4 games, 6 total tight end touchdowns, but every game, a couple high. I mean, you just play him, right? Against the Cardinals?
That's what you're saying. Arizona's giving up 6 tight end TDs.
I think so. Yeah, 6 tight ends, 431 yards, which leads the
throw
league.
in the fact that Ross is out. He
Yeah.
moves up the pecking order a little bit.
20, just under 20
stay healthy for a
standard
full game?
fantasy points.
Can he-
Well, look, here's the other thing. It's going to end, right? There's going to be some regression here. They're not giving up a tight end touchdown every week. It feels
Probably.
like facing Andy Dalton is the week that doesn't happen for whatever reason, but you just keep
They
throwing
looked at
them out.
Eifert in the red zone on.
Yeah, he got
Yeah.
a couple
Oh,
looks.
yeah.
He should have caught one of them.
Yeah. All right, let's get into
Monday night.
let's get into 2 left for dead tight ends, Jared Cook and Trey Burton.
You can't play.
Have both
Jared
done
Cook.
nothing. Well, okay, this is the thing. We look at that and we look at the numbers and say, "Oh, you can't play that b-hole." But I mean, what tight ends are you playing instead?
Who says b-hole?
I did.
I mean, I would play
You'd play Fant and Knox over them.
Fenton. Trey Burton is an interesting one because Oakland's defense is terrible, and he's probably a little more involved. They're not even throwing to Jared Cook. He's playing like half.
They're
But
not
they
throwing
threw
to
to him,
Burton.
I think 5 or
They
6
haven't
times
thrown,
last week.
They haven't thrown to Burton
Oh, I
since
don't-
right.
last year's preseason.
I
when we were all like, Trey Burton.
I think week 6.
I don't like Burton either, but like
All
I
right.
feel like there's more room for him to get involved. Cook is not going to
So
be
I'll
involved.
just give you some. These are just stats.
Okay.
Yep.
Number 2, fantasy points allowed, Tampa Bay at
Whoop-de-doo.
12.1. Number 3, Oakland Raiders at 11.3.
They've got to get thrown to get fantasy points.
Absolutely, but that's the thing. Will they be thrown to more because they have these good? And again, we talk about we kind of joke about law of averages, but do we think Trey Burton and Jared Cook are going to be this bad all year?
Yeah,
No
kind of.
touchdowns,
Well, when Drew Brees comes back, Cook will be
400
better.
yards.
I mean, the thing is,
Teddy Bridgewater doesn't throw the ball more than 6 yards downfield. That should help.
but it goes.
Jared
But
Cook.
like their offense now, and I'm surprised you haven't called him Tay Two Gloves yet, because I thought you were trying
not my thing, but
to make fetch happen there. But
nah, that's other people's thing.
but like their offense now is hand the ball off, throw to Kamara, throw to Michael Thomas.
Right?
That's all they do now.
It.
So I don't know about Cook.
I saw Tim
but I
Gaines
this
get a
week-
catch
but
once.
I'd still rather play Cook over Burton.
Okay.
This week, Jared Cook will have less fantasy points than Taysom Hill and Josh Hill.
Combined?
No, individually. Jared Cook will be third.
Okay.
And we could talk about that at the start of the podcast next week, I might be
I'm
wrong.
not a Jared Cook fan by any means.
He's going to do
He
nothing.
had 6 targets
He's
last
going to do
week.
nothing.
I mean, you say like he does nothing. He does. I mean, 6 targets. He was second on the team in
Okay,
targets.
great. Even if he gets 6 targets this week, he's going to have like 4 catches for like 50 yards and probably not score because they can't really move
4
the
for
ball.
50.
That's
I mean,
more than
from a
Taysom
tight
Hill's
end.
going to do.
Yeah, that's way more.
Unless
than
he
Taysom
sneaks
Hill.
But like that's like max.
I like Jared Cook this week. I think it's a breakout. Jared Cook is in the kitchen.
Well, I'd
this
rather
week.
have Cook. I'd rather have Cook than I'll say this. I'll take a shot with Cook over Burton for sure, and then over Fant and Knox, just because I think those guys are still in like wild card.
Fant's really interesting because you look at the stats and you're like, oh, the Chargers are, I think, 7th or 8th in fantasy points allowed to tight ends. Then you look at the game log, it's 1 game. It was 3 tight end touchdowns to Houston, and that's it. So is that a good matchup or bad matchup?
It's probably
It's whatever.
Fant's been basically 30 yards every single week. That's it. So yeah,
I like that he's involved though. I mean, like
Me too.
I'm not gonna like.
It's not hugely involved, but
Right.
he's
I'm not gonna
definitely
like
involved.
go against your Cook 6 targets last week thing again.
Okay.
But I like that Fant has been involved every week.
Okay, fair enough. And then Knox is sort of, he makes 1 or 2 cool plays every week, but he hasn't done a ton. But Tennessee, that's been its biggest area, its weakness this year is against tight ends. So Dawson Knox, he's getting started against me this week at our league, which
Are you
I
guys
don't
playing
like.
each other this week?
I'm playing Brandon.
Oh, I thought you said Billy picked up
Yeah,
Knox.
another Bills
Nah,
fan.
I wanted to.
Yeah.
But
So
Are you a Bills fan too?
yeah, I'm from upstate New York.
there you go. All right. So
I'm
we
sorry.
really only got one bad matchup or player worth talking about in the bad match. That's Delaney Walker. Billy unearthed some snap stats for them. You're saying he's losing snaps.
Yeah, I mean, he was the third. He played 20 snaps last week. He was third on the Titans, tight ends and snaps. Like, what? It had started to happen that Thursday night before he like comes out of the field, sort of like between the 20s, and then he like comes in on third downs or like in the red zone. So like he could still catch a touchdown maybe, but the Bills would have defended the tight end well.
Right.
Until like something seems to shift backward where like he's on the field almost every play. Like
I
that
play Cook over him.
I might, and I don't even
Ooh,
like Cook.
look at that.
You turned him.
Yeah. Turned him with that 6 target talk I kept referencing.
Nah, it's just if Walker's on the field for 18 plays and they run on
that
14
ain't
of them, like what's he gonna do?
Well, and Walker's also entered that phase where he's talking about how like the young kids don't take criticism well. He's turned into just like that old veteran sage, and I don't know
Sage is one word.
if his mind is on it. So yeah, interesting group. Those tight ends, man. It's a good thing we expanded this segment so
Yeah,
we can
thank
talk
God.
more about them.
I want to jump back in on Dawson Knox. I think he's gonna have a good game.
Ooh,
He's had 3 catches in each of the last 2 weeks, 58 yards in one of them, 67 in the other one. I think
Right.
he's like a weirdly big play threat for like a tight end that's not that involved.
Mm-hmm.
But he like runs short enough routes that Barkley could get him involved.
I was going to say, is he a better play with Barkley than Allen?
Is Trey Burton a better player with Chase Daniel?
I honestly think he's about equivalent.
Yeah.
Starting holder Chase Daniel?
That's
I mean, the
right.
guy's been starting for years.
10 years he's been in the league. 10 years
He's
been in
not
the league.
starting at quarterback.
All right, let's go to defenses. We got a bunch of good. I mean, I suppose now they've probably been picked up, but defenses that were available.
I didn't need a defense this week.
Browns. No,
Nobody
you're,
has.
You're safe. And I got the Redskins waiting in the wings. I don't think I'm going to start them this week against the Pats.
You don't
But I'm
think?
thinking.
But it's Thursday night could be. Oh no, that's not. Sorry,
Yeah,
that's Thursday
next
against the
week.
Giants.
I know. All right, Browns at San Francisco. The flip side of that one, the Niners playing the Browns. Panthers at home against Jacksonville. The Saints, depending how you feel about Jameis, I guess, are playing Tampa. And then the Titans playing the Bills, possibly facing Matt Barkley. I mean, to me, these are all starts. You know, the Panthers, 17 sacks the last 3 games.
Yeah, that surprised me when I saw you wrote that somewhere.
They're
I
not
was like,
doing
whoa.
a ton of other things, but that's pretty good.
They just put short on the DL though.
Yeah.
Not the DL. Sorry, the IR.
It hurts. But you look at the Jags, four sacks in week 2, 5 sacks in week 4 for Gardner Minshew. He's not turning it over.
Well, it's
been
funny. They're
remarkable.
making a big deal about like him buying time, but like that can lead to a lot
That
of
leads
sacks
to
too.
sacks.
It can,
Yeah.
for sure. So, but I still think there are plays at home.
This is like the
Eventually Minshew's gonna
1994 or 95 like expansion bowl right here.
That's right. It's a big
Should
one.
be a big one. Should be a big ticket here in Charlotte.
I like both the Browns and Niners. I like the Niners way more.
I see that game's weird because I feel like that could be the classic 4 o'clock. It should be an ugly game, but silly things happen.
But it's a Monday.
It's a Monday
oh,
night
that's
game.
Monday night. Oh,
Does
my
that
bad.
make it better or worse?
But it is a
I'd
stupid
still
5
think-
p.m. on a Monday on the West Coast.
That makes it a little bit tighter. I thought it was if it was the Sunday at 4.
The weird sunset.
If it was Sunday at 4, I could
Oh,
see
it's
that
gonna
game
be-
being played in
If
the
it was
30s.
Sunday at 4, Antonio Callaway would definitely score a touchdown.
Like it would be played in the 30s.
Right.
It would be played in the 30s.
But, the 49ers
But
are
now we're
so
gonna have
sloppy.
Booger telling us all about something in this game.
Yeah, they were so sloppy the last time we saw them. It just and the Browns now, 2 weeks or 3 where they've been kind of getting takeaways like they did last year again.
Right.
Look a lot better.
Both pass rushes are good. There's going to be some scrambling quarterbacks, I think.
The airport is
also
it near the stadium, because I didn't realize there was a Monday night game the day I'm trying to fly out.
Right next to it. I don't think it's close.
It's no, the stadium's in an obnoxious spot far away. When they had the Super Bowl there, like all the media was mad because they had to go really
Oh yeah, it's
far
in
to
like
get to the
San Jose
stadium.
now, isn't it, or something?
Not San Jose. It's
Santa Clara, yeah.
And the Saints, I like
You're
them,
good.
but you know how I feel about that with Jameis. So that one, we don't need to go over that again. The bad, we'll go, same game Thursday night. Usually we like Thursday defenses, but can you trust the Rams anymore? After
You can trust them for sacks and big plays, but I don't think you can trust
right,
them to
because they had a pick 6 last week.
Right. So I don't think you can trust them to hold other teams really down unless it's a bad team.
Right. And then the Seahawks, they've already sort of been on the outs, but
Yeah.
a home Thursday game, we usually look to the Seahawks after Jared Goff was so sloppy, and he kind of has been on the road in general for a while now. Is there any reason to try to play the Seahawks?
No, I think
it's so risky.
the overall Rams, even if Goff threw 2 picks, I think the overall Rams offense does too much to make the Seahawks.
He had
good.
Gurley?
He had
How's
4
Todd Gurley
turnovers.
gonna bounce back?
He had 4 turnovers last week, and they still scored 40.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
pick
That was a
6,
scoregami, 55-40, first time in
I
NFL
think they were
history.
being cute with Gurley. I think they thought they could beat Tampa without running the ball because of the Thursday night game.
Right.
And now they'll probably they're like, well,
But I was
Gurley's
saying
healthy, might as
before,
well use him.
yeah, they weren't running him early, but they were throwing to him a ton, so he
Yeah.
was still taking
different
hits.
wear and
It was
tear that
weird.
way.
Right.
Different wear and
But
tear.
this will be an interesting game to see how he is used. Number one, if they're like the short rest with as sort of the way they're trying to rest him, and then how he looks. I think will be.
Well,
a
in the
lot to
Goff thing
take
too,
in.
are they going to come out and try and throw 50 times, 60 times again?
Just throw a Cooper Cup every play? You're gonna be. In
I'm
good
fine
shape.
with that.
I think a lot of people would be. All right. Anything else? We miss anything?
Did we miss anything? Probably, but
I'm sure we missed a lot.
By the way, I thought of a term. Remember last week we were trying to think of the inverse of the Monday night hammer if you have a guy playing on Thursday.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, what's a construction term? What can I use? The Thursday night pilot hole.
What's a pilot hole?
what is
God's
that?
sakes. You guys aren't
Well, I
men.
was thinking like pliers. Like
pilot hole.
opposite of a
You
hammer.
drill a
is
little
fine.
hole before you do the full hammering of the nail.
I got a guy for that. I don't
All right, yeah, no. I mean,
too much of my
Are
homework.
we
Yeah,
gonna, is that
you-
going to be our walk upstairs and ask people if they know what it is thing this
No.
week?
Who's ever
Not
heard of a
worth it.
Thursday night? What?
The Thursday night pilot,
Pilot
hole.
hole? They're
We don't
gonna
have- we
be
don't
like,
have
they're
to-
gonna be like, what?
We don't have to throw in Thursday night. I just want to know if they know the construction term.
People should know pilot hole.
Well, we can test it. We'll let you guys know next week.
I don't know. Yeah. Hang
Not-
on. Come
listen,
back for that.
Not some of your best work.
No, I didn't think it was, but I'm just
Teddy
saying.
Two Gloves, good.
Nah, I didn't
Thursday
make that
night
up.
pilot
I didn't
hole.
make up Teddy Two
Okay.
Gloves.
Good thing nobody
that's
made
a
it this
thing.
far in the podcast.
Yeah, but that's true. But I got some good ones though. Let's be honest about that.
Yeah, you're funny sometimes.
Occasionally.
I got some good ones. We all know
Okay.
that. Yeah, you bring the humor to this though, so I step out of the
Listen,
way.
I'm
for
not
that.
bringing the stats. I'm not bringing the analysis.
I bring the schedule,
I bring the
though.
schedule.
schedules. You can read a schedule like no one else. All
And I
right.
write it down too.
That's
like-
it for this week. For everything you need to know about Week 5, go to sportnews.com/fantasy. We got you covered, and we will be back next week to talk about Jared Cook. He's going to lead the show one way or another. Jared Cook's going to lead the show, so that's something to look forward to.
Boy.
People can't wait for that. All right, for Eric Ferreira and Billy Hay, and I'm Matt Latuski. Thanks for listening, and until next time.